Mother Nature can be a tempestuous madame at times, as when she's not burning everything with fire tornadoes or causing space lasers to appear in the sky. She's busy giving lions seizures and manipulating monkey wars. The natural world is a brutal place, folks, as you're about to find out in our list of the 10 most shocking acts of Mother Nature. In at number 10, Firenadoes. Sharknadoes are thankfully a work of fiction. Terrible, wonderful fiction. But Firenadoes are a real thing, although they're more commonly referred to as fire whirls, dragon twists, and fire devils, depending whether you've got a penchant for the dramatic. These horrifying columns of rotating fiery death aren't actually formed like regular tornadoes, as instead of being created by moist and dry air getting their freak on, Firenadoes come as a result of the wind and heat-induced lifting produced by fire, combining to create an invisible pocket of swirling air. As you can see, they're still pretty scary, but they're not as tall as regular tornadoes. Except that one time an actual tornado did actually mix with an actual fire to create an actual fire tornado in Australia. This occurred during 2003's horrific Canberra bushfires, when the tornado from a supercell thunderstorm hit the flames at 160 miles per hour, spawning a pyrocumulonimbus cloud to create the first ever violent fire tornado in known human history. 4 people were killed and 492 were injured, but it clearly could have been a heck of a lot worse. At 9, the death of the king. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've just seen the saddest clip of anything I've ever seen on the internet. This heartbreaking footage was taken in the Serengeti National Park back in 1994, when a canine distemper epidemic spread by scavenging dogs helped to spread the virus amongst the park's population, killing 1/3 of lions in the process. These violent seizures come as a result of infection, and it also serves as a firm example of Mother Nature's unbiased brutality. For if the king of the jungle can be struck down with such debilitating and tragic conditions, nothing on earth is safe. Man, I need cheering up now. How about a really frisky dolphin? At 8, Stinky the pervert. In the 1993 documentary Jurassic Park, about a real-life island full of dinosaurs which definitely exists, all of the dinosaurs are made into females in order to prevent them from breeding. But Dr. Ian Malcolm, who does look a lot like Jeff Goldblum, famously predicts the forthcoming dino-apocalypse by responding with the immortal quote, "Life finds a way." And you know what? That's true. Life always finds a way to procreate, as is demonstrated by the constant stream of sexual assaults committed by a Cayman Island dolphin called Stinky. Stinky is a sexually mature male dolphin, well known to the local diving community. But since there are rarely any females in the area, Mother Nature has told Stinky to hump whatever he can. And that includes snorkelers, divers, and swimmers. Is it me, or does this sound like a really messed up remake of Jaws? At 7, chestburster beasts. Continuing with the Life Finds a Way movie theme, you may remember the scene from Ridley Scott's 1979 classic romantic comedy film Alien, where a lovesick xenomorph engages in a casual fling with a spaceship officer, only for their brief love affair to come to a messy ending when the alien tears out of his chest and starts hitting on his co-workers. But did you know that animals burst out of other animals way more often than you'd think? Obviously not. Otherwise you would have known it and thought it. But it does. And they do. Sometimes this chest bursting is the result of a parasitic animal laying its eggs inside its hosts, as wasps like to do inside caterpillars, beetles, and ladybugs. But other times, it's down to the fact that someone's eyes were a little too big for their stomach, as we can see here, where a giant centipede tore out of the viper who tried to nom-nom it. There's also this famous example of a gator, which ate its way out of a giant python. And also, here's a genuine photograph of a black dragonfish, which as far as I know, has never exploded out of anyone or anything. But it sure looks like a chest burster, doesn't it? At 6. Blood tides. Oh no, what's Mother Nature done now? Murdered a whole bunch of penguins just for the heck of it? Thankfully not, because as gruesome as blood tides may be, they're caused by nothing more than an abundance of blooming algae, with the most recent blood tide of note occurring in the Gulf of Mexico in September 2015. The first recorded sighting of a blood tide is thought to have been off the coast of Florida in 1530, in a phenomenon which still occurs today, although it's anyone's guess what they made of it back in the 16th century. Likely thought God hated them or something. 5. The Wall of Death. What's this? A blood tidal wave? No such luck. This is a towering wall of sand whipped up by a cyclone which struck the coast of Western Australia back in 2013. And while, thankfully, the area of coastline it hit was sparsely populated, many ships were caught up in the 80-mile-an-hour storm. Luckily, nobody died as a result, despite the storm causing the ocean swell to rise by 2 meters. But funnily enough, these events can actually be rather useful, as a similar storm from 2009 helped increase the ocean's phytoplankton levels, which in turn boosted the entire local food chain. See? Just because it looks like the devil's infernal flatulence doesn't mean it's bad for you. And it's got a funny name too, as this phenomenon is also known as a haboob. And speaking of boobs, and at number 4, Mammatus clouds. Mammatus, or Mammatocumulus, is a genuine meteorological term used to describe when clouds sag down in pouches beneath the base of a cloud, taking their name from the Latin word mamma, which means udder or breast. But as welcoming as a sky full of hooters might seem, Mammatus clouds are actually harbingers of great doom, as they indicate that a severe storm or tornado is about to hit your area. So if it ever transpires that more men die in tornadoes than women, now you know why. 3. Light pillars. This astonishing display may look like the beginning of the rapture or an alien invasion, but it's actually an optical phenomenon caused by light reflecting off the surface of millions of tiny ice crystals as they gradually fall to Earth. This can be caused by any form of light, including sunlight, moonlight, streetlights, or Batman's signal, probably, and it may go some way to explaining at least a few supposed UFO sightings. 2. Animal murderers. Human beings have done more than their fair share of poaching, but we're not the only ones to blame, you know, because there are plenty of creatures in the animal kingdom who also kill just for the heck of it. In the past 20 years, young male elephants in many African reserves have slaughtered dozens of rhinos. They've slaughtered dozens of rhinos for no apparent reason. And the problem's become so widespread that park rangers have even started forming Big Brother programs where older male bull elephants are kept around the young jerks to teach them respect. So far it's worked, but this idea may prove difficult to implement in the middle of the freaking ocean, where dolphins, whales, and porpoises have all been seen killing each other's kids for pleasure, sometimes chasing them for miles just to get all that murderiness out of their system. And what's the next step up from murder? At number 1, all-out monkey war. Mother Nature's a pretty big fan of one-on-one combat, and we all know that some species fight in small packs, but surely there's nothing as awesome as an actual animal war, is there? Of course there is. We wouldn't mess with you like that. Here's some monkey war, as promised. During a decade-long survey in Uganda, huge bands of chimpanzees, sometimes numbering as many as 150, have been seen forming battalions and making organized incursions into rival territories. And yes, I know the title to this entry mentioned monkeys and not chimps, and that they are two different things. But you know what, pal? If that's where your focus is right now, then you have a cold, dead heart. Because these are chimpanzees and they're doing a war. Let's just drink that in. Chimpanzees have even been seen conducting patrols, performing recon missions, and babies eaten regardless of gender. These observations were made in 2010 and marked the first time chimp warfare had definitely been observed, with the only 2 prior cases requiring further evidence to substantiate. And that's our list. Did you enjoy the weird animal stories? Then you'll love our recent video on 7 absolutely absurd animal crimes, because there's far more to the animal kingdom than eating babies and going to war.